What do you want to be when you grow up? I never knew what to say, so I always just told them what I thought that they wanted to hear. It was almost like second nature. I would answer, I haven't really decided yet. As the years went on, the looks on their faces became more and more concerned. Everybody keeps judging, as if by the very fact of my indecision alone, I was already a lost cause. Just like a defective toy, just thrown away in the pile of rubbish near the bins. Another frail pile of garbage among all the rubbish lying around in some backstreet alleys. Eventually, it's as if I couldn't take it anymore. That omnipresent wave of pity, or maybe it was distrust. A passive acknowledgement among the wider suburban community that I simply wasn't one of them. Maybe something in my face or in my walk, or perhaps in my voice or how I would ask questions or answer them. Whatever it was as if I had this great deep brand across my face that read outsider. I looked in all directions for my direction, but nothing stuck. Nothing ever appealed. There was no passion to be found anywhere. In any field or any pastime or any friend or mentor or lover or leader or cause or belief system or anything. So, naturally, I ran away from home. And eventually, I was forgotten about. Maybe even completely. Life has a way of moving on without you. Perhaps you tell yourself that everything would grind to a halt in your absence, that those lives in your orbit may fall apart. But wavering is all it is, really. In the stretch of old Father Time, we're all eventually brushed aside. I never knew how big of a fuss my parents made, but they never found me. For that, I was glad. They had nothing to offer me, and I had nothing to offer them. It seemed that simple, and it was, and it still is. What do you want to be when you grow up? So, at 17, I disappeared. With little more than a bag of clothes and some petty cash, I hopped on a bus. Then a train, then another train, and a few more buses, until finally, I was in completely unknown territory. A place I wouldn't be easily discovered. I ditched my old name and invented another, almost chosen completely at random. It all meant nothing to me. The streets are always cold and motels cost too much beyond a night or two, so I found an alternative. People always feel secure in their homes, as if the outside world magically wouldn't ever enter by the simple virtue of their being there. They are wrong. It started out small at first. I would try back doors at night, and when I would find one unlocked, I'd come inside for a while and regain some heat, waiting out the darkness and occasionally taking just enough from the kitchen so as to not be noticed. Quietly leaving when I'd hear activity upstairs or when I'd been ready to move on before dawn. Then, before long, I started staying over. I can't even remember the first time I crept beyond the first floor of any house. But after I did, I immediately began going further. Attics, basements, private studies, bedrooms filled with snoring. You would be surprised how at ease people are going to bed with an open downstairs window or an ajar screen door. I did that most nights for around 6 months or so, stealing enough to get by until the last time, that is. I had my head buried in the refrigerator in the kitchen of some big house in the burbs, not unlike the one I had grown up in, when I heard the voice behind me. The man asked me what I was doing there, and I told him I was sorry and that I was leaving. As I was backing away, he went for me, and I reacted. It was like a dream. The knife didn't feel real, either in my hand or as it pierced his side. It felt even less real when I pulled it out and stuck him with it again, that time in the chest. He fell over after that, and I ran out through the side door I'd entered through. I was terrified, running, panting, spattered with blood. Before I knew it, I was looking down over a bridge at the river below. That was the first time I ever seriously considered suicide. It certainly wouldn't be the last. Instead of myself, I tossed the knife over instead. Then, I started walking. I didn't stop until the sun was rising and I had crossed the state line. I remember sitting on a bench outside some public bathrooms by a dirt parking lot, watching light return to the darkened world, knowing full well that my own life, as I have known, was over. I was a killer. It was just this simple word for my actions. I knew this realization would never leave me, no matter how far I went or what I did, or how sorry I was. It is already over. Any semblance of good in me vanished. I don't think my life will ever be quite the same again, and I do not think I deserve it to be. All I can do is keep moving, keep running as far as my legs and any means of transport I can find, as if I could ever actually escape myself and what I have done. There is no abandoned house, town, or city where I can stay for long. Not more for me. All I can do is to keep moving,